Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is "Throwing This Away" 023, posted November 29th, 2019. My 33 female roommate's 39 female dog is literally killing me. I have allergies and asthma to animals. Dog allergies weren't that bad in the past. I asked her previously, no animals. The company who leases property has that rule as well. But she brought a dog anyway. For the sake of not starting fights, I just didn't say anything. My allergies and asthma have escalated to me having to be on steroids every couple of months for the past year. It's gotten so bad that my doctor told me that something now or something dangerous can happen. The roommate now has been asked to leave by the landlord by March 30th. They signed a contract saying she would do so. Now it's looking like she isn't going to do that or wait until last minute. She's also been fired from the job that gives us this housing. I'm dreading this conversation. I know it's going to be ugly. She has flat out refused to follow any of the rules the company had regarding the dog and controlling the environment either. She was a higher up, so they didn't kick her out right away. My family lives far away, and I have nowhere else to go. I'm thinking of bringing this to the company heads. Rules are obviously not being enforced, and I could die as a result. What should I do? Too long didn't read, my high-conflict roommate broke rules of me and company by bringing an animal to live here. She's being evicted and needs out in a few months, but hinting that won't happen. I'm needing insane amounts of medical attention just to stay alive. Top comment, deleted. For the sake of starting fights, I just didn't say anything. You need to stop being a doormat and start advocating for yourself. They broke your agreement and contravened the lease. They don't get to be treated with kid gloves. They get to be told to get rid of the dog and/or get the fuck out. Stand up for yourself. This is, as you say, literally killing you. Don't commit suicide by being polite, least of all to people who don't deserve it. Update, December 19th, 2019, 3 weeks later. Thank you everyone so much for your advice. It gave me the confidence boost I needed to go to the higher-ups. My roommate's behavior had progressively gotten worse after posting. She had stopped bathing the dog to protest being fired and kicked out. Also, fuck you to my allergies. She had stopped sorting recycling and started throwing trash away in the recycling bins, taking other people's food, and several other things that just make you say, what the fuck? I knew after seeing what you guys were saying and seeing that behavior from her, I had to speak up and be so loud, no one could ignore me. I also knew I had to make the hard choice of resigning and moving back home if the company wasn't going to take my worries seriously. Since it is company housing, I demanded a hearing with the company heads and the landlord. I took my visit summaries from doctor's appointments and told them how this needed to stop, and the move-out date needed sooner. If that didn't happen, I would be forced to resign. They were appalled, and they wished I would have spoken up sooner. A mistake I will never make again. They made up a new contract they made her sign, pushing the move-out date to January 25th. They also stripped her of some company items, phone and computer, they were going to let her previously keep. She's going to be banned from company property as well after that date. In addition to all of this, the company will be reimbursing me for any medical bills I have because of the dog allergies. I think this is the best outcome I could have gotten realistically. Thank you guys once again. Too long didn't read update. My roommate got crazier. I went to company heads and landlord. They moved up the kickout date, gave strict sanctions, and are covering any medical bills I have because of it. Edit to add, they are hiring professional cleaners and someone to clean out the HVAC vents after January 25th. Also, if the roommate is still here after that date, the company told me they will have locks changed and police escort them out if needed. There's no wiggle room with this new contract. So, the first question that I have, and probably the most glaring one, is what in the company town is going on here? It's clear both OP and her roommate work for the same company, and housing is being provided by the company, so Are we speedrunning the Outer Worlds timeline? Is that what's going on here? Are we just regressing back into the early 20th century, late 19th century? Or is this just something that's actually really common, but I've just never heard of before, where a company will provide active housing to their employees? Because that just, I don't like that. That's some orphan crushing machine shit right there. For context, what the orphan crushing machine is, once upon a time, about 6 years ago, on Twitter, Pookle Blinky tweeted, "Every heartwarming human interest story in America is like, he raised $20,000 to keep 200 orphans from being crushed in the orphan crushing machine." And then never asks why an orphan crushing machine exists or why you'd need to pay to prevent it from being used. In this case, why is the company providing housing? And like, is it only provided if you have employment? Are they going to be decreasing your pay if they're giving you housing? Are you paying for the housing the company's providing, or is it something where if you work for the company, you essentially have a Disney fast pass with the landlord to get yourself the apartment? It puts me on edge, and it's getting us one step closer to company towns, and I am definitely not for it. I'm also happy that Reddit gave some proper tough love to OP that they shouldn't kill themselves for the sake of appeasement. And there is a difference, by the way, between telling someone not to be a doormat and to stand up for themselves, even though I did read that comment kind of sarcastically, and telling someone they're being the asshole to themselves, which I have a major problem with because oftentimes it's used in situations where OP is being abused. See, on a subreddit like r/am I the asshole, when you say you're the asshole to yourself, you're saying that OP is the villain of that story. You're actively painting them in the light where everything that's happening is because they're the person who's in the wrong. They're the reason why this is happening to them. They're the asshole in the story. But saying, you need to stop being a doormat and like stand up to yourself, that's a bit different. Like, yeah, it's some tough love and not everyone responds to that, but you're not saying they're the villain of the story, you're just simply telling them to actually advocate for themselves. I do hope that distinction makes sense, and I'm sorry it took me this long to properly put it into words. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." The original OP is Ambitious Crow 44, originally posted to r/am I the asshole, April 19th, 2026. Would I be the asshole for going no contact with my brother after he took advantage of my wife's kindness for my surprise birthday dinner? I, 42 male, and my wife, Tanya, 37 female, have had a very few busy years. A few weeks before I turned 40, one of our kids was born at home unexpectedly, and Tanya got really sick afterward. So my 40th basically didn't happen. I was totally fine with it. Fast forward to this year, yesterday. Tanya wanted to make up for not having a 40th and planned a surprise birthday dinner at a really nice and expensive restaurant I love. She invited my entire family, parents, siblings, and all the nephews and nieces. A few days before the dinner, my mom texted Tanya and basically told her she should clarify that she, Tanya, is paying for everyone. Turns out my older brother Harris, 48 male, was on the fence about coming because money is tight for him. He originally thought it would just be him and his wife. The second Tanya sent a kind text saying she'd be covering the meal for everyone, Harris immediately expanded his group from 2 to 6 people. He added his 3 adult children, one of their significant others, and his adult son's girlfriend. Without asking anyone. He just did it. Also, the night of the dinner, one of them decided not to come. He also didn't communicate this to Tanya. The day before the dinner, another sibling, Shane, 51 male, asked Harris if he was looking forward to it. Harris's response, "Hell yeah, especially because we aren't paying." He openly admitted he only brought a bunch of extra adults because it was free. He didn't care that he was taking advantage of my wife's generosity and our finances. To him, it was just a free night out. During the dinner, I had no idea that she was paying until she got the bill, and we went home. I had an absolutely wonderful time. On the way home, Tanya told me everything. The texts, the clarifying, the sudden shift, and then not asking if his son's girlfriend could come. This isn't the first time. For years, Harris has been disrespectful towards me. He barely has any relationship with our kids. He'll RSVP to their birthdays and then not show up. His wife says she's coming almost every time, but actually only appears when there's an expensive free meal involved. This was just the first time he directly used and disrespected my wife. After hearing all this, I told my wife, I'm done. I'm going no contact with Harris. I don't want him in our lives anymore if this is how he behaves the moment he sees an opportunity to get something for free. So, would I be the asshole for finally drawing the line in the sand, cutting him off, and going no contact outside of holidays? Edit. For further clarification, the extra adults are my nephews that he wasn't bringing if he had to pay. They weren't the issue. He also added a nephew's girlfriend without asking and made those comments. That's what burns me, and it's taking advantage of my wife. Further slights towards me were years prior, which included, but not limited to, not inviting my family into a summer barbecue because someone else who isn't family was invited with their kids and then inviting me day of because that family backed out. I found out about this event from my dad, who was just as upset about me about the situation. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Edit 2. Also, during the dinner, there were 2 tables in the same private room but were separated by a fireplace that took up the middle of the room, making it so you'd have to go to the other table to talk and such. The table I wasn't sitting at, that included Harris and his family. Never once did any of them get up to come over to our table, and yet I went over to theirs several times to talk and enjoy their company. The more I analyze the dinner, the more I see how I'm valued by them. The level of self-unawareness by them is astounding. Am I the asshole with an H has no consensus bot, but OP was not the asshole. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Warn your parents about what has been happening and strongly suggest to them to ensure that their finances and estate is secure. OP responds, I did this about 2 years ago due to other concerns. They added me as an executor of their will and made me their healthcare proxy a few years before that. Commenter 2. Why did your mom call T to clarify that she was going to pay for everything? Why didn't she warn you? Or was she in on the scam? OP responds, Mother took it upon herself to ensure they would come because he was concerned about the cost. I don't think it was malicious, it was just poor judgment. Commenter 3. You also need to tell your wife that you do support her, that if anyone is pushing boundaries, she can say no, and you'll deal with it. Or whatever is needed that she would not let something like this happen again. Get revenge before no contact. Devil emoji. OP responds, I did this first. I told her I appreciate her and that this was the final straw. Slights towards me I can handle, but doing something like this to the mother of my children? To the woman I love and would kill for? It's unforgivable. Commenter 4. Not the asshole. Sounds like you won't really have to do much to actually go no contact. Just stop inviting him to stuff since you know he probably won't come anyway. There's no need to tell him anything about it, and if anyone asks, that's your line. He never comes to these things, so I thought I'd just save us both some time and stop inviting him. When he gets the wind of this, he'll be mad because it makes him look bad. Don't take the bait. Just shrug and change the subject. Commenter 5 responds, he never comes to these things unless there's free expensive dinner involved. OP responds further, I should specify she only comes to things when there's a free meal, meaning his wife. He shows up for some things. Commenter 6. Why did neither mother nor wife stop him from adding extra people on someone else's dime? OP responds, so my wife was trying to be kind. She was understanding about the adult children, but adding the girlfriend after no response until he knew he wouldn't be paying was ridiculous. She was appalled when she realized it. Then hearing about the comments was the cherry on top. Commenter 7. Is this the first time your mom has asked you or your wife to clarify who's paying? Is she an enabler of your brother's greedy behavior? I've seen this happen with my own family, and it doesn't end unless someone gets cut off 100%. OP responds, this is the first time. I spoke to her today, discussed the situation with her, and she says she wishes she never asked T because when she saw the number he said, she was afraid they were going to take advantage of it, and her suspicions were found to be true at the dinner. OP responds to a comment about his brother trying to leech off another family member. OP responds, we'll see. The looming question for me is, when will he actually notice I no longer respond to texts? Him sending me reels or answering calls? I mentioned in another reply I work in medicine. I work in emergency medicine in a very busy place. You know, when I hear from him, when his family needs to come see me, and I always ensure they get in and are taken care of by the best, even when I'm not there. When I don't answer or help, that's when the dominoes will fall and he'll blame me. The ego on a guy like him is beyond confounding. Update, April 26th, 2026, 1 week later. So, a lot has happened since my original post. I've had numerous discussions with my wife, my oldest brother Shane, my dad, and my mom. There were a lot of deep conversations about the subject, pros and cons, and some serious soul-searching. Harris, 48, the subject of the last post, has done some really messed up things this past year. No-showing my oldest son's birthday and then calling an hour late with some lame excuse, saying he and his wife were showing to my younger son's birthday, and he shows up acting like melancholy Mary while his wife skipped out to go to a casino. Remember the money issues? On a recent holiday, my pregnant wife was kneeling down with my kids, and he pulled her up and gave her a hug, which is very out of character for him, and my wife was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Mind you, he thinks he's God's gift to everyone around him. He showed up to my oldest son's basketball game when he was told, when I wouldn't be there, to show up next weekend and that it was going to be my wife there. There were many years of different things. Every conversation is somehow geared back towards himself. Mind you, his track record is very short, and it's like he's always trying to compete with me. It's sad, to be honest. Not once in my career, changing specialties or anything I did, he never once checked in with me. While I did, when he changed jobs after 20 plus years at the same place. He gets angry when called out, so you cannot have any constructive conversations with him. He chooses friends over blood, the previous discussed cookout incident. He has a better relationship with one of my friend's kids I grew up with than mine. There's little to zero effort from them. I showed up to everything I was invited to before I had kids, and the only thing I didn't was because my family had COVID. Am I perfect? No, I have my faults, but I look back and even when I rented an in-law basement apartment from him, I'd moved in for a short time, 3 to 6 months, and each time, he'd up the rent when he saw fit, once because I had a girlfriend that would spend the night. No, she didn't shower or eat their food, of which I stopped staying with him in my off months of a winter rental and swallowed my pride and stayed with my parents for 3 months and bought a house soon thereafter. The conversation with my mother was the most enlightening, saying he was the most self-unaware person. Mind you, she is his primary defender but realizes how bad this is. She was sad about the state of his and my relationship, but she understood due to all the slights and issues I've had with him, and when they're brought up, he cannot handle talking about it if it's about him. Everything is an attack. No such thing as constructive criticism. Also, everyone else has contacted my wife or myself in one way or another and said thank you after the dinner. Not a single thing from that family. Not a word. Everyone is in agreement with my decision, which is low contact. My father has a condition, and I don't want to miss any time with him for the kids and myself, especially holidays. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. It sounds like he's after your wife. OP responds, I felt off about the situation, but I didn't witness it. He waited until I walked away, which pisses me off even more. He called me at work when he was walking into the basketball game. I told him straight up, I'm not there, and I told you this wasn't the week to go. Commenter 2. So you've not confronted him over his piss-taking bullshit or told him to pay you back. OP responds, there's no reason to. As I said in my last post, regardless of what is said to him, he doesn't listen and gets defensive. I called him out with the oddity stuff around my wife. He just got weirder. She dislikes him and I trust her, so I have no worries about that. I don't want any money. It's the principle of the constant oddities and disrespect. Commenter 3. Give it up. You ain't gonna get through to him. Live your life as happily as you can. Do not let him know when special events are coming up, such as birthdays, special dinners, games, nothing. Do not invite him to your house. You have tried hard. Move on. OP responds, I should specify low contact means holidays at my parents only, not invites to kid stuff. No responses to calls or texts. Something that I've kind of come to notice as an unfortunate truth in life is there are people that just have a philosophy of taking. They don't really care about giving back, they just have the expectation that people will give things to them, and that's the crux of the relationship. You give me things, I receive things. That's how our relationship is. I don't have to show up to things, you show up to my things, and in their mind, everyone's happy with this arrangement, not realizing they're slowly grating on those around them because of their just inability to actually be a human and just engage with those around them. There's also a really interesting inverse of someone who will give lavish gifts like over $1,000 out of nowhere, or just do a lot of like very generous things, essentially love bombing with gifts as like an attempt to control or as a way to expect them to give that same amount back when they literally cannot, and then becoming pissed or mad with them that they didn't reciprocate the same amount of gift giving that they never asked for or expected in the first place, and then calling them users and all they care about is your money when you're the one who gave them a gift out of nowhere in the first place. I'm not saying this is what OP is, by the way. This is just something that I have experienced firsthand and seen, and it's just kind of crazy that on one hand you have people who take and take and take and believe that's just part of the relationship, and on the other hand, got whatever that is. OP is definitely not the latter of that example. OP is just being a good brother to his brother, and his brother is just being a shit brother and shit person back. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." The original OP is Sparkle Fairy 458, posted to r/am I the asshole, April 27th, 2026. General content warning for manipulation, entitlement, and possible financial infidelity. Would I be the asshole if I refused to run errands for my parents anymore? This is a throwaway account. Hey guys, I, 28 female, have absolutely had it with being used by my parents. So, a bit of context. I live very close to my parents. I have 2 children under the age of 6 and a husband. My husband works abroad, so most of the time it's just me and my littles. I work from home, and I work 8 hours a day for 4 days a week. We do well for ourselves. A few months ago, my car decided it was going to have engine problems and just shit out on me. So while I was shopping around for a replacement, my father decided to help me out with a used car that him and my mother owned. It's an SUV, very spacious. And honestly, they weren't going to be using it anymore, considering my father takes the company car home from his job. Not only that, but they were finally going to fix their Nissan for my dad. Now, I do need to include the amount of vehicles they have. 2 Chevys, 1 Nissan, and the SUV they gave me. Now, because my father taught me responsibility, I absolutely didn't want to take it for free. So, I bargained with my dad to help him out. They had paid $3,300 for the SUV when they got it, but it needed several repairs. 2 window regulators, side mirror, AC, etc. A few minor things. So my dad and I agreed that I would pay $1,500 for it and just promised to take care of it, which of course I do, and have. So he signed it over to me and I got it in my name immediately. Insurance, tag, etc. Now, because I had to get the repairs done, just 1 regulator was almost $600 for the part and labor cost, my dad agreed to let me do $100 a month or more depending on what I want to do that month. I agreed and handed him $500 right there as the first payment. It's been about 4 months now, and I've paid him a total of $950 out of the $1,500 for the SUV. Last month, my youngest brother, 15 male, was at school. His school is 6 minutes from my parents' house, and he got caught vaping on a THC pen with his buddy from school. So he got sentenced to an alternative school, which is an hour drive from my parents' house. And the little friend of his that got it with him is their neighbor, and his mother doesn't have a working vehicle either. So the boys just go together with my mom normally. They have to be at the alternative school at 7:45 a.m. every morning and picked up at 12:30 p.m. every afternoon. This is relevant, I promise. Now, in the last 4 months I've had this SUV, my mother has used me as a personal assistant. Why, you might ask? I don't know, but at first it wasn't a lot, just little, hey, are you out? Can you stop by the store and grab this and bring it to me, etc. Just small stuff. And recently, my grandmother had a surgery hours away. So my mom needed me to pick up my brother and his friend and bring them to the alternative school for 3 days. No biggie. Of course, Mom, I've got you. But I did ask them for gas money, since I was taking my brother and his friend in my car with my gas, and I had just filled it up. My dad gave me $50 one time. The SUV takes $65 to fill up, and The drive to school being an hour there and an hour back takes about a quarter and a half of my tank each trip. Still, I didn't make a big deal of it since it was only 3 days. Quarter and a half. Okay, 3/8. Now, here's where I might be an asshole. After those 3 days, my parents have asked me to take my brother and his friend to this alternative school every day, coming up with excuses, and while my dad works, my mom is at home, laying on the couch. Now, I'm sure she gets up during the day, but when I leave, she's in the same spot as she is when I come back. No, they have not given me any more gas money. And on top of all that, I've had to work still, take my kids to their appointments, take them to school, etc. Gas is extremely expensive right now, and we aren't broke, but I just don't have the extra funds to constantly be filling up my tank and not getting any help but one time. I'm so fed up, and I feel like I'm being used. So would I be the asshole if I just refused to run errands for my parents? Am I the asshole has no consensus bot, but OP was unanimously not the asshole. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. You should have bought a car from a dealer without strings. OP responds, yeah, I sometimes wish I did. Commenter 2. If you're doing so well financially, why can't you afford to pay $1,500 cash for an old junker from your parents? Also, I don't understand how a school in your district would be an hour each direction plus only a half day. Doesn't make any sense that you're driving 4 hours per day on high school transportation. The kid needs to get a hardship license. OP responds, we are doing well enough to make it, but these trips and constantly having to drive while gas is as expensive as it is tearing down our money fast. And I was going to buy it outright for the $1,500, but when my dad offered the payment plan, my husband and I had agreed that it would help us get the repairs done and not completely clear out our bank account while doing so. Commenter 3. Daughter, ask the question, what's wrong with mom? Why isn't she motivated to get off the sofa? Talk with your brother, find out what's going on in the house. Are your parents actively caring for him? Prep meals, clean house, wash clothes? Before you cut off your services, at least try to find out if your family really needs help. OP responds, my little brother is very much a troublemaker. He's been in trouble countless times for several things. He wants to fit in, but he's choosing the wrong crowd to hang with. And honestly, I don't know what's going on with mom. Commenter 4, is the mother of the other boy giving you gas money because she absolutely should be? Also, no is a perfectly acceptable response to unreasonable requests, regardless of their past helpfulness to you. OP responds, I haven't gotten a penny from the boy's mother, but as much as the boy is a troublemaker, he tried to give me his $5 for lunch one day because I bought the boy's breakfast on the first day. He's a sweet kid. I didn't take his money, of course. General question, is OP's mother taking care of her grandma? OP responds, no, grandma is at home, and my uncle lives with them, and has been taking care of her. Update 1, April 28th, 2026, the next day. Here's an update for you guys. Yesterday, I asked you guys if I would be the asshole if I stopped running errands for my parents. Here's what happened. So, after talking to my husband and taking y'all's advice, we've decided we'll be paying off the SUV. It's only $550 left, so it won't be a huge financial hit, but it'll definitely put a dent in the bank account. So, this morning, my mother had asked me again to take my brother and his friend to school. I of course said sure, but I'll need gas money. Mom said, oh, okay, well in that case I can just take your SUV for the day and fill it up for you. Now, I know my mother. She's the type of woman that will run her gas tank all the way empty and waste her money on other things, cigs, clothes, etc., before putting in gas. She also has asked to borrow my car, the one that shit out on me before, and it had a full tank. When she took it, she was gone all day. I missed a very important ultrasound for my youngest, and when I got it back, it was damn near on E. So I wasn't too willing to let her just take my SUV. So I said, no mom, I can take them, but I need gas money. Otherwise, he's going to have to take a bus or Uber. This is how that convo went. Mom, honey, I don't understand. We gave you gas money. Yes, mama, for the 3 days I had to, and it was only $50. You haven't given me any since, and I've been taking them every day. $50 is a lot of money. You should have made it last. 50 is a lot of money, Mama, but that's my point. Driving Henry and Grayson to school every day takes at least a quarter and a half of my tank each trip. Okay, well, I'll just take it and fill it up for you then. Mama, no. I can take them, just please give me gas money. This is ridiculous! It's either you give me gas money or Grayson is just gonna have to take the bus or an Uber. Excuse me? Mama, I know you. You've borrowed my vehicle before multiple times, and each time it goes from a full tank to damn near empty, and you have given me zero compensation for those times. I don't mind helping you, Mama, but there is a line where help becomes too much and is turning into being used. And right now, I feel like you're using me. I feel like y'all only let me buy the SUV so I could be your little errand girl. It's not fair to me, my children, nor my husband. I have a job, my babies have school and appointments, and taking Grayson and Henry to school is affecting our lives and my job negatively. I'm calling your father. And she hung up. About 3 hours later, I get a call from my dad. Here's how that convo went. Hey, Dad. Hey, honey, what's going on? Explains the same thing I told Mama. Well, firstly, I gave her gas money to give to you multiple times. I have just had in cash and not on my card lately, so I gave it to your mother to give to you every morning. Secondly, I absolutely did not let you buy the SUV to be our errand runner. And lastly, Henry's mama was supposed to be giving you money as well. Well, Dad, I haven't received any money, unfortunately, and it's affecting my job and the kids' schedule. I just can't keep driving 4 hours a day. Okay, honey, then don't. I'm sorry. I'll get to the bottom of everything and talk to you later. You didn't take your brother today, did you? No, sir. Good. Talk to you later, honey. As of right now, as far as I know from gathering info from my brother, Dad said that Grayson would be paying for an Uber by working for my dad for the whole summer. He won't be getting to do anything but work this summer. As for Henry, he will also be working for my dad the whole summer. Honestly, I think some good, honest work would be good for the both of them. Mom had a meltdown because Dad found out she was pocketing the money and she won't tell him where it's at. As of right now, I don't have any extra info on that part. And my dad has decided that instead of paying the last $550, it's considered paid off. So, woohoo! So that's all I have for you guys. I appreciate all your help in the comments and helping me grow a shiny new backbone. Smiley face. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. I don't get it. How does she get to your vehicle if they had several at home? I take it the boys aren't old enough for driver's license yet. OP responds, Grayson has his permit, but my dad won't let him drive because he'll just go joyriding instead of going to the alternative school. He did the first week of alternative school. Henry, I'm not sure if he has one, but they only have one car, and it's run down. Commenter 2. Dad found out she was pocketing the money, and she won't tell him where it's at. Mom's got a gambling and or shopping problem. Betting if Dad starts checking the accounts and cards, there'll be a lot of other money missing. OP responds, Yeah, I'm starting to think that too, but I don't know. I'm trying to get more info out of my other brother. Update 2, April 28th, 2026. Same post, same day, hours later. Edit to add update 2. Okay, firstly, thank you all again for your comments and support. Many of you wanted the update on where the money went. Well, here's the tea. My older brother, 18 male, we will call him Tyler, lives with them, so he's my primary source of info on this update. He said that when he got home from work, my parents were at the table. Tyler said that Dad was calm, but Mom was crying. So Tyler went upstairs and set his stuff down and kinda hovered over the balcony to see if he could hear what was going on. According to Tyler, this is how their convo went. Honey, where is the money you were supposed to give OP? I gave it to her! No, you didn't. And honestly, dear, this isn't the first time money has been missing. What are you accusing me of? Dad's real name. I'm not accusing you. I'm asking for your honesty, and your reaction is only solidifying my suspicion. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Where did you go the other night? I didn't go anywhere. I woke up at 2 a.m. that night, and you were nowhere to be found. Mom was apparently bawling her eyes out and screamed something incoherent. Calm down and breathe. All I want is honesty. Mom grabs her car keys and runs out the door, still incoherent. That's all I got so far. I'll keep you guys posted. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. What do you think she's done with it? Could it be cheating, gambling, addiction to drugs, another family? I'm too invested. Opie responds. Tyler and I are betting she's messing around. Commenter 2. What's the chances she's paying for either a side piece or drugs? Opie responds. Drugs I doubt, but the way she's acting, both Tyler and I think she's messing around. Dad hasn't said anything to Tyler when Tyler asked if everything was okay. According to Tyler, Dad looked drained, and he went to bed. Final update, April 29th, 2026, the next day. Edit to add, update 3. Okay, this is the final update. I just got off the phone with my dad. 3 things happened. 1, Mom came home this morning at 4 a.m. and my dad was waiting for her. 2, he served her divorce papers. Apparently, it's been a long time coming. Not sure if he gave her actual divorce papers or if he just told her he's divorcing her and showed her his legal paperwork. I'm just relaying what I was told. 3, he told me about her affair. She's been seeing someone for the last 3 years right under his nose and only found out when on her laptop. He said he never suspected anything because the money that went missing was little bits at a time and Mom always had an excuse. But when he noticed she wasn't showing up with the things she said she was buying, he started a tally of times she took money and how much. This had been going on for at least a year when my dad found out about her hiding money. So his first reaction was much like most of y'all. She's gambling. But when he started tracking her location via her car's GPS, she had never gone to the casinos. She went to her friend Karen's house. Dad had confronted Karen about why Mom was gone at night and if they were spending money, and Karen covered for Mom, saying she doesn't know anything about the money, but that her and Mom were just hanging out when Mom got super stressed. Well, you'll never guess the next part. The affair she was having was with Karen and Karen's husband. The money was used for sex toys and etc. Apparently, Dad found out about this affair 5 months ago and had divorce papers already drawn up. When my mom got home at 4 a.m., he gave her the paperwork and copies of all of his evidence against her. He just didn't think that she would stoop so low to steal money from me for my gas. That's the final update. They're getting a divorce and obviously I'm shocked and disgusted. And my brothers are just as shocked. Well, I certainly didn't see that coming. That's definitely one hell of a twist. They must have been buying some pretty high-end stuff. I wonder what else that etc. includes because, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if it's also gambling, cigarettes, and who knows what else because there's definitely a lot of stuff going on here. It's also suddenly not shocking at all as to why the younger brother is acting out because from what Opie explains, both kids seem to be good kids, they just have a lot of weight on their shoulders. I mean, the fact that they realized the situation they were in and offered to help pay for things, I mean, that speaks a lot to who they really are, and unfortunately speaks a lot to how their environment is corrupting them. I do wonder if the husband was seeing if his wife would come clean, and if she came clean, they might begin the process of recovery, but that never happened, and instead she was pocketing the cash from both parents and decided to start stealing from her daughter. On an off note, did anyone else grow up in a school district that had one of those, rehabilitation schools? Because we did, and they were used as threats, very commonly. It's like a sword of Damocles hanging above you. You are failing classes? Oh, you might get sent to Pathways. You get all 3 strikes for your behavior? Well, Pathways is just around the corner for you. That's where all the delinquents go. Which it's actually incredibly unfortunate that it was used as a threat to students who were performing poorly because the thing is, it was actually a good school, and I had several friends who ended up going there, and when we reconnected in high school, they had severely changed for the better. Whatever kind of education they had at that alternative school or the Pathways program actually really helped them for the better. Did you know that if you spill salt in front of 16 possums in a trench coat, they'll have to lick up every single spilt grain? Anyways, please don't spill salt in front of me. Now, on to the main topic here. Gamer subs. If you use code ODDS at checkout, you get 10% off with every purchase, and every purchase made supports the channel directly. Plus, if you're a little, shy of spending $36 to $40 on a tub of flavor that you don't know if you'll like, they actually provide free samples that they'll ship to you, so that way you know for a fact that you're getting what you're interested in. They have caffeine-free, and something called Gamerade, which is basically like a, hydrating electrolyte-style drink thingamabob, as well as a sleep aid called AFK. So thank you for tuning in, everyone, and I hope you guys take care. Also, sorry yesterday's outro was a bit spooky. I didn't mean to catch some of you off guard with that. My bad.